Yo, what's good, guys?
Good morning to you there, Mr. Food Monster. This is how it's going.
Today we're going to be doing another Four Squared in hair metal, and today we got the albums of Damn Yankees with their debut, Tangier with their second album, Four Winds, Baton Rouge with their second album, Lights Out on the Playground, and we got Tattoo Rodeo's debut album, Road Hard, Put Away Wet. Now, I want to give a shout out to Patrick Reeves. He gave me the idea or gave me the recommendation of doing this four squared. So Patrick says here, the whole album is great in reference to Tattoo Rodeo, perhaps part of a future four squared with Damn Yankees, Tangier, and Baton Rouge. So now he didn't give me the albums, but that's okay because I was certainly able to fill in the blanks, and these were the albums that I wanted to talk about then with these respective bands. So let us start here first, I guess, with Damn Yankees.
Oh, fuck, here we go again. Here we go again.
So Damn Yankees here in 1990. This album is, or this band is pretty much like a super group, if you will. You know, you have members of Styx, Ted Nugent as Ted Nugent, obviously, and then you have Night Ranger as well in here. You know, this album never did nothing for me. I know it went double platinum. I know they had like 5 singles off this son of a bitch, and I just, even when I was a teenager, I liked High Enough, but like when I eventually ended up getting the album, nothing really stuck for the most part. And I could even say the same thing for their second album, Don't Tread. Uh I This album just never did much for me. Now, I will say like the first 4 songs are pretty good. I do like those. Like when I listen to this, that's the first 4 songs are the only songs I have on the iPod that I took off this album. You know, because I do remember having Pile Driver on there, the final track. But man, I found myself just skipping it a lot. So I was like, I'm just taking this off. Like, I don't know. But yeah, it's, to me, it's kind of boring. I don't know. And I think another part of the reason why I don't care for this supergroup or these albums is that I'm not the biggest Styx fan. I'm not the biggest Ted Nugent fan. I'm not the biggest Night Ranger fan. Of those of those bands. It's just too much 70s and early 80s sounding rock, which I'm not the biggest fan of. Like, I know probably like 10 or 20 years, I'll probably regret saying that. Like, I'll probably just fall dick first into, oh my God, I absolutely love 70s rock now, but like very few and far in between as of now that of 70s rock that I really like and have in the collection. So I think that's a part of the reason why I don't really care for Damn Yankees. But at the same time, like I understand what they were trying to do. They're trying to capitalize on what the sound was, the hair metal in the late 80s, early 90s. And to me, it's just kind of boring. Like when I was listening to this today, I was like, just okay, like nothing wrong with it, I would say, but it's just your typical mainstream radio. Let's turn these 70s guys into 80s, a super group. It's just mainstream stuff. I just don't care for it that much. Like, I don't hate it. Don't get me wrong. I don't hate it, but I can't tell you the last time I listened to that album, uh, out of my own free will. So it's been years. So, other than in preparation of this video, but like, yeah. So, like I said, I had all 4 of these albums in my life and knew of them for since my teenage years. So it's not like nothing totally new for me, like that I just found out last month or so. But I will say, uh, probably the Tangier album is probably the newest one that I added to the collection. But I have always been aware of like the singles and such. But like, yeah, I don't know what with Damn Yankees. Like I said, I've known this album and of Damn Yankees since I was a teenager, and hasn't gotten any better for me. And if anything, probably gotten worse. I don't know. It is what it is with Damn Yankees. Like, I'm not here to defend or to basically to bash either. Like, it is very neutral on Damn Yankees. It's just not not me. I wouldn't lose sleep if I never heard this album again. So That's pretty much like, and that's what's crazy too, because like this album went double platinum, and I'm just like, I get, yeah, high enough, yes, I get why that was a hit, but man, everything else, like Coming of Age, Runaway, Bad Reputation, like they're good songs, but like even when I was listening to those, I'm like, uh, kind of, it is what it is. Like they're just there, and that's because like I'm not gonna, I don't want to give away like where that goes in my ranking, but like it just blows my mind that damn Yankees went double platinum, and these other three awesome albums no one even knows about. No one knows about these other three albums, and didn't do jack shit in the charts, or as far as sales goes.
So I put two and two together there, hey, and decided that you're pissing me off.
So let us go here to the next one, shall we? And that is going to be Tangier's Four Wins. Now, this one, Philly Boys, is awesome. And as you can see there, Bill Matson, the lead singer, was able to sign my copy because so about 2 years ago, I was able to meet Bill, and he was at the like a record expo up in Philly with Michael Kelly Smith and a couple other guys. And that was just so cool too, because like I this album is so good, and I was like, I didn't even know like what Bill was doing anymore. Like I didn't know anything about him. Like you don't hear nothing about him, obviously. And obviously Bill leaves after this album, and then they get the new singer for Stranded that came out in 1991. But nonetheless, though, Four Wins. Like this album is damn good. Now, yes, for anyone that doesn't like Cinderella's Heartbreak Station, it kind of that's the best way I can kind of describe this album, because it is very bluesy, does have a slight western feel to it, but it's not nearly as deep as Heartbreak Station. Like, because I certainly there's a lot of western variety in there, a lot of blues, like hometown blues stuff. So like I get why people think that Heartbreak Station is a little too out there for them, but Tangier Four Winds is like bringing the reins back on that, bringing that in a little bit, but still has that hair metal feel to it. But just a very mature feel though to it as well. You have songs you need off the album here with Ripcord, which could have easily been a single. I don't know if it technically was. The only single that I know that was on here was Southbound Bound Train and On the Line. But yeah, I don't get how Ripcord wasn't a single. Great song. Mississippi's cool, has that bluesy feel to it, mid tempo type deal. On the Line, though, I will say, like that deserves to be a single and deserves to be heard. Probably one of the best songs on here, bar none. Um, the title track is cool, a little bluesy. You know, Bad Girl, fun song, fun. Fever of Gold, very good chorus to it, like sing along style chorus. Southbound Train, like I said, good stuff on here. Like there might be only like one or two songs on here that I don't really have on the iPod or that were just okay. Uh, but nonetheless, though, Bat or Tangier Four Wins, it doesn't get much better than this if you want bluesy style hard rock, like, and it's not, and it has a little bit more of an edge, I would say, than the Great Whites of this era as well, like Once Bitten Twice Shy. There's a little bit more of an edgy feel to it, not much, but like it's not as so Once Bitten Twice Shy in my opinion, like that song. Yeah, I don't see that, but yeah, shout out to Bill Matson because he also did backing vocals on Night Songs as well. So there's another Philly connection. Like Philly had the shit going on in the 80s, late 80s certainly. And it's just crazy because you had Heaven's Edge, you had Sick Vicky, you had Brittany Fox, and obviously Cinderella. And then even you could throw Poison in there. They were only about an hour away here in Harrisburg. But nonetheless though, very good stuff from Tangier. Now, I do like their next album, Stranded. I like it, but for different reasons. It is a little bit of a different feel. It is a little more mainstream, if you will, more hair metal sounding than Four Winds. But man, Four Winds is where it's at if you like blues in your hair metal. And I can't recommend Four Winds enough. Yo, what's up, guys? I just wanted to jump in right here in this video and say thank you so much for watching so far and for watching all the other videos as well that we post. And also, can you guys click the like button? And also, too, if you guys want to subscribe, hang out, build this community up like it used to be back in the golden era. So if you guys are down with that, I have nothing else for you. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will get right back into this video. All right, let's go to the next one here. We have next Baton Rouge's 1991's Lights Out on the Playground. Now, I actually have 2 copies of this album because it is that good. Because over the years, like whenever I find an extra album that I know I have and I certainly like, and I know that is out of print, I just grab it. Now, you could say that's very selfish, but at the same time, I don't want an album like this just to be hanging around and no one pick it up and it get thrown away or destroyed or whatever the deal may be. That's one of my biggest fears when I see stuff like that, especially when it's for a decent price. Like, like as you can see, the price tag here on this copy was $3. Like, yes, I'm going to be buying this for $3. Okay, and I'm not going to let this hang out to dry, basically, just in case. Now, if there was a fan or uh, a new person coming into hair metal that could have found this, I feel very bad about that, and I'm sorry. But I just I had to grab it though, like because you never know what's gonna happen to this stuff, and they obviously ain't making any more of the originals. Yes, now reissues and stuff like that. Yeah, but it just ain't. It's just not the same. Anyway, you have this album here produced by Jack Pawnee, which does a lot of other albums as well. Babylon AD. Now that Babylon AD comes into play here on this album because Baton Rouge ends up doing a cover of Desperate, which is on Babylon AD's self-titled album. And Babylon AD's version is better. I do prefer Babylon AD's version better because I like Derek's vocals on that very a lot because his are a little more heartfelt, and I like the guitar tone on Babylon ADs because there's a little bit more extra licks throughout and such like that. The solo, I think, is a little more raw as well. Not taking anything away from Kelly Keeling here with Baton Rouge. He sounds great on vocals as always, as he did on the debut, on this album, on the parts that he played on the second Blue Murder album. Wherever he goes, he it sounds great. But to me, uh this version sounds a little more mainstream and more produced. So like, and I totally get why they were like, "Hey, let us try to cover this and maybe have a hit with it," since really Babylon AD wasn't able to get a hit with it. Because that song, that no matter who the hell sings this, whether it's Babylon AD or Baton Rouge, it needs to be a hit. It needs to be heard. Like I don't get how this was not a hit in 1990 or 1992 or 1991. What wherever this fell. But yeah, either way, check out Babylon AD's version first before Baton Rouge's. But that's just my thoughts. But either one's just absolutely great. So you lead off here with "Slave to the Rhythm." Like I said, I had this album, maybe not this technical one. The one I had for since I was like 14 is over here in the collection. But my God, like I've been with this album since like I said, since I was probably in like 10th grade or so. And even like my buddies that aren't really into metal or the ones that were in the rock and metal, but like more of the newer stuff or 90s stuff at the time, they even liked Slave to the Rhythm and Baton Rouge's first album because that the first album I played a lot during high school, but I played this one a lot though too, and like they knew what Slave to the Rhythm was and they liked it. Just a great opening track. Full Time Body, second track, very good, very catchy sounding song, great chorus. Tie You Up's cool, and obviously you get Desperate. Take Your Time, I'm not the biggest fan of. I can leave that one off. But here's another one that I have no idea how it didn't make how it wasn't a smash hit because this has mainstream AOR rock pop written all over it. Is The Price of Love. They did have a music video for it, and I certainly recommend checking that out. But my God, how the hell wasn't this a hit? How I mean, Okay, I can sit back with Desperate. Okay, that's fair because Babylon DD's version I do like better. That one should have been the hit. But how wasn't Price of Love? The chorus is so goddamn catchy. Like I don't get it. I just don't. I don't understand this. Now, yes, 1992, all that rigor, all that rhetoric there behind that. I get it.
Am I wrong?
No.
Am I wrong?
Now, yes, it's 1991. All that rhetoric behind why, all the excuses why this wouldn't be a hit or this album won't sell or these bands aren't any good anymore. I get it. But my God, this song deserved to be somewhere, like instead of on a dollar shelf here. Like I don't get it. I don't understand. Great song. Great song. One of the best on the whole album. Now you got Down by the Torchlight, kind of bluesy. Like that's a actually like really bluesy song. Now this album does have a little bit more blues, slightly more blues oriented than the debut. It's not totally. It's not like it's Tangier or Great White or anything, but uh, the original guitar player from the debut album left, or one of them left, and they picked up the guitarist from Keel, and he joined for this album. So maybe that's kind of where we're getting a little bit of a different sounding Baton Rouge, if you will, than say the debut. But in all honesty, it's not that much difference. But like if you're listening to the details, like because I do think there is a little bit more blues on this album than the debut. Light at the End of the Tunnel, good one. Tear Down the Walls is a fun song. Hotter Than Hell. You had 12 tracks on here, and most of them are pretty good. You could probably take two of them off here, and it'd be a super super strong album like the debut. But my God, that takes nothing away from this album. Lights Out in the Playground. I One of my favorite. I, I don't know if I'm gonna say one of my favorite albums, but I have a lot of fond memories with this album, and it still holds up today. If anything, it gets better. And that I honestly don't know if I like the debut or this one more. I'll probably go with the debut, but it's actually debatable. We can debate that. But man, Baton Rouge, this song or this album has to be heard. Baton Rouge just has to be heard in general. Debut or this album, whatever, either one. Even the 1997 album is actually pretty decent, for being 1997 and kind of like a backseat thought, if you will. I don't know. But either way, very good stuff all the way around here with Baton Rouge. And if you guys know of the debut, you're going to like this album. So check it out. Slave to the Rhythm, Desperate, if you want to hear their version of it, and Price of Love. Look the hell out with that song. Give me a fucking break here. Like that is probably the most digestible song that you will hear from any of these albums. Even the damn Yankees one. Even as digestible as that is, going double platinum and having 5 singles on the damn whole album. Uh, Price of Love is probably the most digestible for anyone, not even the normie rocker, even the pop lover, even the 60s, 70s lovers. Like, I don't know how someone doesn't like that song. All right, rant over. So let us go here to the final one. And this is going to be another interesting one as well.
Yo, this is your boy G Money from Rug Pull Radio, and you're watching the Crash Course Metal Show. Shade Lay.
Most of these kind of have a similar theme to them as far as like a stripped down, not necessarily blues, other than the damn Yankees, minus that one because that one's not really bluesy or stripped down. But the other three here, they kind of have a little bit of that slight bluesiness feel to it in spots, and some of them all the way through, and has a little bit of not so overproduced, I will say. Now, Baton Rouge is a little overproduced, but not to the hinderment of the songs, I would say, like Damn Yankees. I think Damn Yankees, if they had a little bit of an edge to them, I think the songs would be a little bit better, in my opinion. But, I mean, it went double platinum, so whatever. They could do whatever they want. But anyway, we got here Tattoo Rodeo's debut album. Yes, rode hard, put away wet. Ha ha ha. Yeah, okay, I get it. Very cheesy, if you will, but nonetheless, though, damn good album. Damn good album here. So you do have 13 tracks on this son of a bitch. Now, I will say here, uh, Very good album. I am a big fan of this album ever since I had it in high school. Now I the first song I ever heard was I seen it on YouTube, "Ben Your Fool," which is a ballad, and that is actually the only music video I think they had for this album, and that's a shame. We're sitting here at 1991. Now I get it. Yes, one song and or one music video, and if it doesn't do much, then yeah, get out of here. But nonetheless, though, it's on Atlantic, so that could be another issue. They just were not wanting to throw money at this, and they had all kinds of other bands as well to be throwing money at in 1991. So yes, Sweet Little Vicky, very good. Everybody Wants What She's Got, very good. Like there's something with the drums on this album that I like in the production in the mix. Like I said, to me, Tattoo Rodeo. This album sounds like if you want to hear hair metal, but you're in the Midwest of the country of the USA, like Oklahoma or Arkansas or like somewhere out in the middle of the country somewhere, you know. Uh very, very good stuff. Let Me Be the One is a very good ballad. I think I actually tend to gravitate towards that one more so than Ben Your Fool. Uh Ain't No Reason Why is good. Love Shuffle has a really good chorus to it, kind of catchy. You know, Shotgun Johnny's pretty heavy. You know, probably one of the heavier songs on the album. Very good there. Tell Me Why, the 10th track, very I mean, you might be able to say that this is a ballad, but either way, this is a damn good song. Top 3 song on the album. Easy. Now, I will say the last couple tracks you could probably say don't need to be on here because 13 tracks, that is a lot, man. Like, it's hard to have such a really good album with that many tracks. But, you know, Tattoo Radio did a hell of a job to try to change our mind on that, you know. And but like you're I'm still taking like 3 tracks off this album, easy. But either way though, like Tell Me Why you need to check out. Ben Your Fool is the single on here and rightfully so. Very good ballad. And the other one here, Shotgun Johnny and Let Me Be the One. If you're in the ballads, I think you would enjoy this album here because Ben Your Fool, Tell Me Why, and Let Me Be the One are certainly on the ballad side of things. And if you like ballads, you're kind of missing out with at least one of these. You will like at least one of those 3 songs. So, but like I said, it does have a very Midwestern feel of hair metal, and that's the thing. Like, not like I said, not necessarily like with Tangier, like comparing it to Heartbreak Station, but there is some of that in here, and I think that's why I dig these albums a lot, these 3, because I have no issues with Heartbreak Station. Now, I get why people have issues with it, because it was a total change at the time. Maybe not a total change, but, like, a little too far out there for, you know, just your casual fan of Cinderella, and, you know, and especially if you don't like blues to begin with. So, I get why people don't care for Heartbreak Station, but still, a lot all of these bands would kill to have an album like Heartbreak Station, and I find that very hard to believe that they wouldn't. So yeah, take that for what you will, and it's very good album, very good album. Put Rode Hard, Put Away Wet. Yes, haha, but very good album nonetheless. So we have come here now to rank these 4 albums.
6 hours later.
What am I gonna do?
2 hours later.
I see what you did here. All right, so coming in at number 4, this one was the easiest one. I didn't need to think too much about this one, and that is going to be Damn Yankees' debut album. Just for the reason why I said I just don't visit this album. I even when I first bought it, wasn't the biggest fan of it, and after 15 years plus of having it, still not the biggest fan. Hasn't grown on me. 3 and 2 were so hard here for me. Like I don't even know how I can distinguish 2 because they have both been very important in my life. And well, even the number 1, yes, but like I think number 2 and 3 are obviously going to be closer to each other than the number 1. So this was tough, and I'm going to go with Tattoo Rodeo. It's a good album. It is very good. I think, but the one of the reasons why I put it here at 3 is because I visit this album more for the 3 ballads than anything else. And now, like, the rockers are good, but none are necessarily very stand outish to where I have to put it on a certain playlist, on the multiple playlists I have, or vice versa. And like I said, there's 13 tracks on here. So like there are some duds as far not unlistenable stuff, like not hateful stuff, but just stuff that just doesn't make the iPod to begin with. So with that in mind, I have to put this at number 3, even though I love this album, even though, like I said, there's way too many tracks on here, but I still really like this album. And like I said, I grew up with it too in high school and up until now. And I talk about this album. Me and Tim Derlin from Tim's Vinyl Confessions, every time we get together and do a video or whatever, somehow Tachi Radio always comes up, like whenever we talk, and Blue Murder, and Baton Rouge. Even like we talk about all 3 of those bands all the time. It seems like so, but yeah, Tattoo Rodeo is going in at number 3. All right, coming in here at number 2, we're gonna put Tangier's Four Winds. Now, man, like I said, I was super impressed when I got this album because like the whole album is pretty good. Like I said, there's maybe 1 or 2 tracks, but man, like On the Line is such a good song. So good. Like I don't know how that didn't really do much. It did get to like in the top 100s of the singles charts, but like nothing to really change anyone's lives, I would say, as far as selling the album and such. But and also Ripcord and On the Line. Check those 2 songs out because they carry this album, but there's a lot of other greatness on this album, especially if you like the blues stuff. So that Tangier Four Winds is coming in here at number 2. All right, so I don't know if many people would have guessed this, but I mean, if you guys have been following the channel, I talk about Baton Rouge a decent amount, and maybe almost too much in comparison to a lot of the other bands, but never too much talking about Baton Rouge. So number 1 is going to be Lights Out in the Playground from 1991. Like, I think I ranted enough about this album, but Slave to the Rhythm and also The Price of Love, 2 great songs. They rival anything that they did on the first album as far as like singularly, as far as like a single song. Like, they're right up there, man. Right up there with it. And this is just like I said, a lot of bands were not just one album and done. Yes, the record company said, yes, you are done after this album because it's 1991 and 1992. You guys are getting the hell out of here. We're tax rating you guys off, basically, or whatever the deal would have been. But just so good. I don't know. It, I don't know what to say other than Baton Rouge Lights Out in the Playground is my number 1. And, a lot of people that I came across in my life really like Baton Rouge. And it's not they're not big because people don't like them. It's because no one heard of them really. And it's just a shame because like I said, my friends from high school that weren't necessarily into the exact subgenre I was, but they all seemed to like some songs from Baton Rouge. And you have to be crazy not to like Baton Rouge. I don't know. I don't know. I don't have the answers to everything, guys. I don't. No matter how much we like to talk about all of these great albums and the golden era of rock and metal. And I don't know. We just don't have the answers. Sad to say. Wish we did. But guys, let me know what your thoughts are on this four squared. Let me know your ranking in the comments as well.
Talk to me.
Always fun to see everyone's rankings, and this one might be a little bit trickier than most for some people. Now, I don't know. Damn Yankees might be getting a bump from a lot of people because that album sold pretty well. But for me, that's going to number 4. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Stay out of that collateral damage. And if you guys enjoyed this four squared, check out this one right here.
Yeah, I wrote that. It's called I Want to Rock Your Body. And then in parentheses it says to the break of dawn.